Hello, Kenny. It's so good to be together.
It's great to be together, and for what a special occasion we have here with Rabbi Chaim Hillel and with Levi Chitrik. I said that right?
Yep.
I was so nervous about that. I went over it a million times in my head. Try saying that 10 times in a row. It's not so easy.
Yeah. Well, you're over that hurdle.
But Rabbi Hillel and Levi are the amazing people behind Narrow Bridge Winery that Rabbi Bernath and I have spoken about many times. We're both big fans, and we're very excited to have you here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Rabbi Yisroel, good to see you.
So good to see you, Kenny.
Good to
So
be
good to
back from
see.
your event. I will tell you that I've been holding on for this special occasion. I have a bottle of the Narrow Bridge. It just says Narrow Bridge Blanc, but I'm assuming it's Sauvignon Blanc. Yes, guys?
Yep. It
From
is sub 100% Sauvignon Blanc.
very exciting. So I'm going to open it and taste it live. And
So what
Is
is
probably,
it chilled?
would you say let it chill?
Is it chilled?
It is not chilled.
Ooh, okay.
I'm known for, I don't chill my whites really. Cellar temp. It's not
Again,
firm.
that's
It's
fine.
about 60 degrees.
The best wine is the wine in your glass.
I agree.
And
You would say to chill this wine?
I like it chilled. Generally, Sauvignon Blanc, I drink
but you're
chilled.
going to lose some of the flavor in the chill, no?
I yeah. I mean, I hear
That
you that.
Yeah, it takes some of that sour end off. That chill gives it a certain length of taste. But
So
each to his own.
as Kenny's pouring this glass, tell us about this. Like, where's the vineyard? Give us some of the background on this Sauvignon.
That Sauvignon Blanc is from, I believe, Mesa Verde Vineyard in San Ynez Valley. That's not too far from us. San Ynez Valley is at the top of Santa Maria. It's not too far from Santa Barbara. It's a little warmer than the actual valley, so some of the cabs come from the valley, as well as some of the whites. Our Merlots come from the San Ynez Valley as well. But it's a very diverse area for wine, and some of the Pinots come from the hills, the Santa Rita Hills near that valley. So
Well, I can tell you, it smells like more like warmer climate. It's got a lot of fruit there, right? It
yeah, it is on the warmer climate side, most definitely. It does get hot in the summer in San Ynez.
smells great.
Where the fires are, there are some fires recently.
Is
So
that? I mean,
is the
how do
wine a
you?
bit fumé?
No, no, that's I believe a 24.
Is it
No
24?
fires, no fires in 24.
Yeah. Have you had to deal with the fires at all?
Not really.
Thankfully not.
Yeah, we've never been affected.
Yeah. That the last big year was what, 2021, 20? I
I
don't even.
believe
There was
21. Yeah.
there is currently a fire.
There's currently a fire.
Yeah,
This is when it happens, right? It happens like mid to
usually
late.
around now.
It's
That's
dry.
when everything is driest before
Right.
the rains come in.
Right. I was lucky enough to have tasted, and I wrote it up. I'm looking at it right now that I wrote up the Wolf Pinot Noir, and I loved it. That 22.
Love that.
Um,
Love
we
that
both,
Pinot.
I think I discussed it on the podcast. Yeah. That's great stuff, and I love Pinot Noir, and I love that you guys are making Pinot Noir. And can't get enough good Pinot Noir. Um, how did you guys get started? I know that's a very cliche first question, but it's going to be asked, so we may as well start with it.
I
If
guess
you're
I'll go
taking us,
first. Yeah. Well, I was as a child, I would watch my great grandfather. He lived till 106, and he would make his own wine in the basement for Pesach. And I would watch him big-eyed, and it always intrigued me. And then I started making wine myself in my basement. And it was a couple of years until we grouped together and started going professional. But I've probably, I've made wine for about 10 years in my basement, experimenting with the fruit I was able to get in New York. But that led me to bigger and better things. And here we are
That was happening in New York, you're saying?
in New York. Yeah, I'd go down to the fruit market fall time, and there were a couple of distributors of wine quality grapes. I wouldn't call it quality, but wine grapes, Zinfandels and those sweeter stuff. And it was me and a bunch of Italians picking up, 50-pound cases of grapes. And I would haul them back to Brooklyn in my basement. And I had a crusher and a press. And every year I would, build up and get more and more equipment.
What year is this? Bring me back to what year that is.
I started making wine in the 90s
Wow. Okay, fine.
as a
Wow.
kid,
The 90s,
sporadically.
the 90s sounds like, 100 years ago.
Might
That's
as
okay.
well
Kids
be,
always
yeah.
say the issue with you is that you were born in the 1900s, so it was 100 years ago.
It was last millennium. But again, then I went away, I went off to yeshiva. I missed a couple of years, but in my 20s, when I was back in New York, I started taking it more serious. Um, and it led me to learn a tremendous amount about wine that broadened my appreciation, which eventually led us to go into professional wine.
So how so jump a bit. So you were making wine, you obviously finished yeshiva, you like what's that story? The origin story of Narrow Bridge.
Um, I was still in yeshiva, but then back in New York in my 20s, I was in 770. And I would make wine for Pesach, and I had some celebrity clients. I had the Rebbe's secretary, Benjamin Klein, pick up wine for Pesach. Moshe Kotlarski would get my wine, and I developed quite a following. I
Ah,
called it
celebrity.
Kletzker. Yeah, our very own. We called it Kletzker because my family were descendants of a Chassid Benjamin Kletzker, so we called it Kletzker Winery. And my friends all knew that I liked wine, and I was attempting to make wine. And one day, a friend calls me and says, I met these two guys who are building a winery in Brooklyn. And they were building something which eventually became the Brooklyn Winery. And then they opened another winery, the District Winery. And I approached them and I said, hey, I want to be your first customer. I want to make kosher wine. And they were more than willing. And we did 2 years of kosher wine with them. And it was it was near the Williamsburg Bridge. We were searching for a name. We were sitting on a bench, a friend of mine and I. And he says, why don't you just call it Narrow Bridge? We're near the bridge. And we all know the world's a narrow bridge. So it was that first year, 2010. We're about 6 or 7 guys. We all chipped in. We made 3 barrels of wine. We made 2 cabs and a cab franc. And then the next year, our group grew. We're about a dozen people. And then they got tired of us. They threw us out. And that's when I called Chaim. It was actually simultaneously. I met someone out in West Hampton Beach and says, hey, my son's a winemaker and he's interested in making kosher wine. And I called Chaim, told him about it. And he says, hey, is that the same person I'm talking to? And we moved our production to California then. And Chaim and I have been partners ever since. And we've been making and drinking great kosher wine.
You knew Chaim before?
Chaim and I are related. Chaim's married to a cousin of mine.
Okay, so you knew each other. And Chaim, I mean, I know you, obviously, you're the Chabad rabbi in St. Louis Obispo.
But
And so I am fascinated by obviously a Chabad rabbi getting into the world of kosher wine and making wine and this production. I was fat when I heard about it initially. And I know there's a few other Chabad rabbis
right.
in the kosher wine business. And so how did that happen? Like what's your story?
Funny enough, very similar to Levi. I grew up in Montreal, and my grandfather would make kosher wine for Pesach. In fact, he was taught the secret of making wine by a famous chassid in Montreal. His name was Peretz Muchkin, and he was the winemaker of the Chabad community, for Pesach, a special kosher wine. And then I don't think his kids were interested in continuing. So he told my grandfather, you're a teacher, they don't pay you enough. Let me teach you a side gig, a side hustle. And he learned how to make wine. And I grew up like going to my grandfather's basement and smelling the smell of the cellar. And as a little kid, I guess this is before you know things changed. It was my job to fill up the wine and bring it to yeshiva so people can drink wine. And he was the camp Gan Yisroel rabbi, but he also would supply the wine for Gan Yisroel. And to call it wine is, it was, people call it Rabbi Gurkov's gasoline.
I remember that
So,
wine in camp.
yeah. And
Did
that's why I
you did
grew
you
up.
press
And
the grapes? Like you have the story of like cutting the toenails and
no, I would see him. He had like a small press in his garage and he would do it himself. And as he got older, his son would help him, my uncle. But I never saw the process. I just saw like the finished product in a barrel and you would dip in a pitcher dip it in order to keep the sediment out. So the pitcher was, I would say cheesecloth, but it actually wasn't a cheesecloth. It was probably a Pantyhose. And you would dip it in and fill up the bottle, recycled, Coca-Cola bottles or recycled grape juice bottles. And that's how we drank the wine all year, Kiddush. So growing up, that's what I thought wine was. And fast forward to 2009, I moved to San Luis Obispo, and you'll do research on where you're living, and it's like there's olive oil that it's famous for. It's famous for wines, and I never thought like I would be part of that wine scene. I remember reading about the rabbi in Napa Valley making wine, and it was interesting, but I never thought it would actually turn into something. And then one day, in 2010, I believe, I got a call from a Jewish guy, and he says, "Hey, you're a rabbi in town. I'm interested in making kosher wine. My dad wants kosher wine. Would you help me make kosher wine?" And I had no idea what that meant, what that
So
entailed.
he was a local.
He's a local, yeah. And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't think I can do it." And that was like right around harvest, which is, September, before Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. It was also my second Rosh Hashanah. I was just so overwhelmed with learning how to run a service, And then I went back to New York for Simchas Torah. It took me a few years to get Simchas Torah up and running by us. So I went to New York and I walked into Shul, and Levi's there. And Levi says to me, I just met a guy and his son makes wine by you. And I said, one second, are we talking about the same person? Like, how small is the Jewish world? And Levi said, "What did you tell him?" I said, "I told him no." So Levi's like, "Why'd you say no?" I said, "I have no idea. I don't know what it entails." Levi's like, "I make kosher wine. I've been doing it all these years. I'll walk you through the process. I'll tell you what's kosher, how to kosher." I said, "Okay." I went back to California after Simchas Torah. I drove to the winery, it was in its old location. So it was like about 40-minute drive. And I said, "Hey, I'm here. Should we make some wine?" And that was the first year we did sort of a collab. No, nothing fancy. And then Levi tasted the wine and said, "Oh, this is good stuff. Let's actually start producing our bridge." So that's how it started, 2011 or 12. And ever since we took a break a few years, but we've been producing, in collaboration, some good wine, if I may say so myself.
It's great wine. It's been on my radar. I think back, like I'm trying to think of when it would like got on my radar, and I had heard about it, and I couldn't seem to get my hands on one right away. I mean, how long has it been? How long ago would I have? How long ago would it have come across my desk, so to speak? It was like 5, 6 years ago. Does that make sense?
Possibly. I mean,
Yes.
we've been producing since 2010, so
Right. Okay. Well, I don't know. It probably, if I'm saying 5, 6 years, it's probably longer. But I
No,
it was
we were originally mostly, was mostly family and
right, and
friends, and
and local, I guess, right?
right,
Almost like
right,
right. I wasn't getting it across to the mid-Atlantic, the wasteland of kosher wine over
exactly.
here. By the way, I should introduce my Chabad chops, but my Zadie was a Nezhiner, so I'm just saying.
Uh,
No, my mother's side, but whatever. Anyway, it
He's
still counts.
Gej.
it's my mother's side too. My father's side, I'm Yemenite.
There you
So
go. So there we go. I don't want to be left out here. That's all I'm
and
saying.
Nezhiner, that's the first I've ever heard someone refer to himself as a Nezhiner.
right,
You're Chabad, but not Lubavitch. Nezhiner.
Chabad from Nezhin.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where the
The
Mikvah was
OG.
buried.
The OG. I'm gonna taste this. So I'm just gonna make a bracha. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Amen.
Kenny, give us the live.
I'm gonna let you. I was gonna say you guys carry on for a second. Let me think. Let me think on it.
Can I make a bracha in the meantime?
Yeah, that's
I'm
perfect.
drinking Pinot Noir.
This is our podcast is sponsored by Blessings Incorporated. What are you drinking over there? What do you got?
I'm drinking our Riverbench Clone 113 Pinot Noir. We released this a couple of months ago.
Oh, I haven't had that. That looks
Neither have
really
I.
good.
Okay, then we can arrange.
We need to arrange that. I
That
really
looks
love
really
that
good,
last.
and I love your Pinot.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
I know that I remember writing it that you guys are very Pinot focused, right? Is that what's not so?
No, we are. Pinot
Okay,
is our strong link is Pinot.
good.
But from
Good.
a business perspective, it would be suicidal to start with just producing Pinot,
especially in
especially
the kosher
kosher.
world.
Yeah,
That's what
no
we're
one,
talking about, the kosher
right.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. People appreciate the the handsome muscular cabs or those
Right.
Bordeaux varietals.
Give us your
And
best cab.
we do have some good cabs, but we like our Pinots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Um,
mean, I like to not. I would say that I wouldn't sell the kosher keeping community that short. I think there's obviously room for growth, and yes, cab and I get it all. I hear it all, but I definitely have seen more movement to whites and bubblies and even lighter style reds, and I don't know. I mean, I think if that's your specialty, and you're getting great produce and whatever, and you're great at it clearly, then let's do it. Who needs
Right.
more California cab?
Pinot
I
is the
think
hardest wine to make.
I
it is
think
a
you're
difficult
also
wine.
right.
Go
Well, I
ahead.
don't have to
I
make
think
it. I just
you're also educating people of about what California Pinot tastes like.
yeah.
Because even if they were drinking Pinots, they're usually drinking non-California Pinots. So they're not used to this. And I've heard from people like, oh, this is different, you know. So it's
Yeah, it's
interesting.
definitely New World Pinot. It's definitely,
Right.
we pick the fruits a lot riper than the European Pinots, and the Israeli Pinots. I can't put my finger on.
Yeah.
Right. So that should, I mean, that's almost a selling point. It's a good crossover drug, so to speak, for because it's not right. It's some very light European Pinot. It has real body to it and depth to it. So maybe yeah. Anyway, I
The,
loved
Baruch
it.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bar pri hagafen.
man,
Amen.
the Oregon Pinots have become really popular. I mean, there are even a few kosher Oregon Pinots. How does the California Pinot differ from the Oregon Pinot, in your opinion?
That's a good question. I think the Oregon Pinots are fantastic. At first, we had some of the cheaper kosher ones, which were basic, but then I've tasted some real fantastic Oregon Pinots. Um, again, to my, from my point of view, I think the Oregon Pinots are a bit smoother, but the California Pinots have that complexity. So you'll have, as I call, some elbows and some knots, but that adds character versus the Oregon Pinots, which are close to perfection, but it's just, something that's too perfect.
I got to
Um,
start using that elbows and knots thing. That's great. Right. But one of the things that's beautiful about wine, I always like to think, is that it is the elbows and knots. It's not a commercial product in that it's not consistent every year. It's not consistent from one week to the next even. So it's like I love that about wine. It's organic nature. And
Yeah.
it's cool that in the kosher world now that we can even have that discussion, that we have examples of Oregon Pinot and California Pinot and French Pinot, and it's like it's amazing. Not in Canada, of course. Sorry.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, no, I mean we were talking last time because he said there's like basically no kosher wine coming into Canada right now.
We have a,
Right.
we have an issue right now. There's no
What is
kosher
that?
Tariffs.
wine. Yeah, tariffs.
You gotta bring a big station wagon over the border.
You know
What
it.
else?
It's
So,
Um,
funny.
so
Our very first big customer was someone from Montreal who tasted the wine and said, "I want 10 cases of this." So we got to get back to to Montreal and
was it that
yeah.
guy on the left here? Well, I'm not sure what anyone can see, but was it Rabbi Bernath in a disguise? Because I feel like that's how he orders. I need 10
No,
cases of this.
not yet,
Uh,
not yet.
so a little notes on the Sauvignon Blanc. Fantastic nose, by the way. It's like really aromatic. So I think the extra warmth serves that well. Um, Lots of, I would say, pear and of course the obvious like lemon stuff, but more orangey.
hmm.
Yeah, I tend to taste it like a tangerine.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a
And
great call
then
because it's a real citrusy orange, and the acids, fantastic. And it's is there any oak on this?
we put it in neutral oak.
Neutral oak, okay.
Yeah,
But really well done, really very nice. I can see
thank
why
you.
you say you'd like this. I don't know. I like really when you chill something like this. I think you lose some of that nuance, um, because this is not. There's more depth to this, and I think you lose a little bit of that when you chill it too much, at least. So it's just
For
me.
sure. Yeah, no, I see that. I see that. I like to get rid of that acid bite, and when
Hmm.
it's chilled, it sort of it rounds it out.
Right, rounds it out, right? So that's something. But great job again. You guys are, I think, 3 for 3 now with my tastings. So,
Appreciate that.
Rabbi, you've had this wine,
I've
the
had this
blanc.
one.
I have had it, and yes,
I should say which rabbi I'm talking to. Multiple rabbis. Rabbi Bernath, you had this. You said you had it, right?
had it over Pesach.
Oh, you had it over Pesach,
Yeah,
and yet it didn't find its way to my when you joined me for Pesach.
I
I guess
know.
you, yeah.
I know.
Mm.
I
Well,
know.
we'll take that up later.
It's a good sign. It means he finished it. He just wanted
I
to.
know that, but you should have shared it with me. Is the point?
I shared
That's
some other
Where were you together for Pesach?
undisclosed location.
Wow.
somewhere on Earth. We just
Uh,
happened to coincide. We were like strangers in the night, and we crossed paths.
that's right. That's right. I mean, I don't care saying if the rabbi was there.
Yeah, no
We were
worries.
in Orlando. I think it's far enough out now that the statute of limitations is run out. I don't like people knowing where I am ever, but my wife is always like, I do use like social. I'm a social media guy for all the wine stuff I do and whatever, and she's like forbids me from putting, a picture of me in front of a palm tree in like Orlando, Florida. Like, because the last thing she wants, which I agree with, is anyone then saying, "Oh, hey, I'm here. Why don't we meet up?" That's exactly why I'm on vacation.
We did drink a really nice California wine together, though.
Are you asking me to remember what it was? Oh, yes, it was the
Well,
Four Gates. It was
thank
the
you.
Four Gates. Of course, Four Gates. Merlot, right?
Yes,
What year?
It was. Rabbi, do you remember off that? I'm no Gabe Geller. I
I
can't
think it was
remember.
2016.
I'm gonna
Nice.
look. I'm gonna look. Was it 2016? Yeah. It was pretty great. Yeah, we he's good at making wine. Do you guys know him? You
Of
know
course.
Binyamin? Yeah.
Yep.
He's pretty good at making wine.
Yeah, I
Good.
try to make my way to him if I'm ever traveling down to wine country through San Francisco. I stop in Santa Cruz,
That's a
and
good stop off.
It
it's a
literally
If you
wonderful
can make the
spot.
bends around the and the
If your
curves.
car can fit
Yeah,
through the
exactly.
redwoods.
I
Somebody,
have
somebody once told me that he wanted to visit him. He said, I'll drop by." He said, "No, you won't drop by." So first he thought he was being, facetious. And then he said, "No, no, no, you actually just can't drop by. It's curvy and windy and
yeah, yeah.
How
Yeah.
far is he from you?
two and a half hours, give or take. Yeah.
You could have said anything there to me, and I would have been like, okay. I
Well,
don't know how far anything is in California. It's all the same to me.
So
Yeah,
I'm
it's large,
fascinated
California.
by the double cab. Tell us about the double cab. I mean, it's like I'll tell you why. Because there's always we said it before, and we make fun of the Jews about it. Give me your best cab. The Jews like cabs, and there are not many double cabs on the kosher market, especially California double cabs. So I'd love to hear about that.
Double cab is our brainchild. We
Right.
had two cabs that we blended together initially, and we're like, you know what, these two cabs, two different vineyards, they complement each other really well. And we were looking for a name, and we came up with double cab, and it's stuck ever since. And it's our entry staple wine.
I had one, and I was at a tasting, and people were like, "Oh, where did you get this from?" I'm like, "Why? It's double cab."
Like
We're
double.
actually producing for 2024. We have a single cab because a double cab we typically harvest in Paso Robles, which is north of SLO. And the cabs are unique there. It's a really warm climate, and the cabs are really fruit forward, extra ripe. Uh, you know, real New World. And we only found one vineyard that we liked in 2024, so we just have a single cab. So no double cab coming out,
Okay.
for 24.
When this year do you go grape shopping? Like what about when is that?
Oh,
That's
the shopping was.
shopping was already.
Yeah, in other words, we have to secure our lots quite early,
What month is
especially
that?
we lock in, we start talking to the growers in April,
Uh-huh.
and we got to lock it in by June and put down deposits.
So you're literally just sampling grapes. You're running around this place sampling grapes and
It's not like we're just tasting a grape and saying, "Hey, this is great cab." We're
right,
not we're
right,
not that expert.
right. And besides that,
But
obviously you gotta, I assume like they're known producers and like you
there's
have
known producers with good track records, and again, we're
right,
small, so it's hard to secure small
right.
quality lots. So again, the summers are shopping time.
Mm.
We were out there a couple of weeks ago, Chaim and I, and we went to see some of the Pinots vineyards that we knew. So
I
yeah,
know the
at this
last one was
point,
in
everything
Santa
is locked
Maria.
in.
The last one I had was in Santa Maria. Where is this one from now? Where are you looking?
We went to see a lot not too far from the winery, a couple of miles down the road in San Luis Obispo County.
Edna Valley, I think it was.
Yeah, right at the border of Edna Valley before the drop.
Right. Tell me a little bit about, I mean, I know something about it, but I guess, the wine nerds on this that listen to us like hearing these things. What's the topography or the geography of what makes, SLO or that general area like special and unique? And also, second part of the question is, I know that it's well known for Pinot, but it's also known for Cab and Syrah, I think even, and like that's an interesting type of environment to be able to like because you'll see you'll
Oh,
see Pinot Chard what Pinot Gris or something like that but not also well known for some of the more muscular red grapes.
I'll let Levi answer the question. Just to preface that I think this your second question is the county has such a huge microclimate. Like you can literally drive 5 minutes and the temperature drops by 20. So I think that answers the question why there's so many different varieties. But I also think that obviously, as Jews, we believe that the spiritual you know, affects the material. So I'd like to say, because the Jewish community is so beautiful and Chabad is so amazing, so it affects
Totally.
the grapes. That's the spiritual answer. The actual answer, I'll ask Levi to.
There's a Chabad
I
rabbi
love
talking.
that is the actual answer. That is the
Yeah, I mean it's quite simple. We harvest mostly in SLO County and Santa Barbara County. Santa Barbara County has the Santa Maria Mountains that align not from north to south, but from east to west. So you have that cool ocean breeze. So you have that part of the valley that really never gets too hot. So that's where the Pinots grow. You have the Santa Rita Hills as well. But then you have other nooks and crannies like the Santa Ynez Valley, and we harvest cabs in Happy Canyon, which has real warm afternoons, but it allows everything to cool off at night. It's never warm at night. Um, and same with the Syrahs. We don't do too much Syrah because it's not our area of expertise, but there's a lot of great Syrahs in our area. Shira Winery, we
right.
harvest in the same areas.
We've
Um,
heard of them.
yeah, we used to work together when we were all at CCWS. We were all under the same roof.
He's
You were
doing the
part of
custom
that
crush
same
together. Yeah.
Chabad, right, famous.
Yeah, but they moved south. They're in Oxnard, and we moved
Right.
north into SLO.
Right.
So
By
again,
the
as
way,
Chaim said, go ahead.
the one thing I've absolutely learned tonight is I didn't know anyone actually called it slow. I was curious about that. I don't know. What do I know? I don't want to say the wrong thing. But you
Locals
guys
call,
refer to it
locals
as
call it slow.
slow. All right. That's a shul that I should probably get your shul. I should get like a partial membership to.
Absolutely. Anytime. Always welcome.
I like the way you lead, Rabbi.
He leads slow.
There you go.
We'll put in a drum roll for that in post effects. So what do you have on the agenda coming up? Like you said you have the single cab, and I imagine 26 will bring a half cab. I was waiting to say that joke. No, but
So good.
but what else do you have what else do you have coming up that anything different with doubling down on Pinot? What are we doing here?
We have a couple of nice things, and Chaim can definitely elaborate. But we had a couple of years ago, we got a great cab from Happy Canyon, and it's not available every year, but we got it again, and it's coming out in 20 from the 2024 vintage. We call it our Hirsch cab. That's our flagship cab. That's a real heavy, Napa style cab. So we'll have that coming out soon. And then, we like to be creative with one of our batches each year. The other year we put out a TSM. which was a Tanat Syrah Morved,
Right.
which was a big hit. And we have another two varietals that we mix together, a Malbec and a Petit Verdot.
Interesting.
We still don't have a name for it, but it's a great blend, and we're excited about that.
That should be some kind of contest to come up with a
Be
name for
the
that.
the
That's a very
MVP
cool
instead of
blend.
the MVP.
Yeah, Chaim says that sounds like a minivan.
It does sound like a minivan. You're right.
Um, feel like you mentioned to me once about a story behind the Hirsch and Wolf line.
Yes.
What do you,
Yes.
let's hear it.
Chaim, you want to
Sure.
elaborate?
So my wife and Levi are cousins, and they grew up with their grandfather, who was a real, really special man, learned, successful. He was actually one of the first. He was the first Chabad shliach that the Rebbe sent to Brazil. And then eventually he came back to America, came back to New York and built a business. So he was a very strong force in their life, like family get-togethers every week, every Shabbos. So when we produced this wine, it was really good. And Levi said, this reminds me of Zeta. It's like, I want to do the honor and call it Hirsch. So we did that the first year of that cab. And then the following year, my father-in-law's father had passed, and his name was Zev Wolf. And Levi said, "Look, we honored this grandfather. Let's honor that grandfather," and we called it Wolf. So it also went well with the animal symbolism. Hirsch is a deer, Wolf is a wolf. So it worked both ways. In the mini series of the animals, and also with honoring people in our family. So it went really well. You need
Yeah.
a little more lesson. Anything to add, Levi?
I should say that Maizeda Hirsch was our first investor. I don't know, was he still around when we started making wine? When I was making wine in my basement, he would give me a couple of bucks for grapes and equipment every year, and he was always my biggest fan. So it's a great way to honor him.
Wow.
I know you guys, you're very focused on the people you deal, the customers you deal with and whatever. Because I mean, if you ask me, your wine, it's only natural that it's going to become more well known and people are going to want more of it. How will you juggle that aspect with the aspect of being able to grow, which you should? I mean, of course, because people deserve to have these wines.
Yeah, I mean, at first we knew all our customers. We were a group, and we would engage personally with each one. But growth comes with, I guess, some dilution. And there's lots of customers we have today who don't know us personally. I would love to know them,
I
you
just
know.
to cut, sorry to cut. I just remember, like, we'd get an order, and Leithy would message me, "This is the guy's name. Do we know him?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, he's a friend of this," or like, "Do you know him?" "Yeah, it's a." And then, like, the first time we both didn't know who they were. We're like, "Whoa, okay, we finally people outside of our circles are learning about the wine." It was such a good feeling to know that.
And it's a
And
landmark.
generally, sharing wine is something very personal. When you share a wine with someone, it's not a typical transaction. It's something happy. Everybody loves a glass of wine. Yain mesameach. It's something that brings people together. And I think Chaim can elaborate more about how our wines in SLO have brought a lot of people into sort of, re-engaging with Yiddishkeit now that there's a kosher local wine. We work with a couple of consultants who have been out of touch with Yiddishkeit for so long, and this wine sort of, brings them back in and reignites their connection to Yiddishkeit.
It keeps me.
Awesome.
Let's hear more about that, Rabbi.
Yeah, like Lady mentioned, one of our consultants. I mean, he was not involved for many, many years, and recently, first of all, his father reached out to me and said, "Thank you so much for what this kosher wine production has just brought him back so much into asking questions about Yiddishkeit and wanting to know more." And then he himself told me recently that as he matures, gets older, and he's been working with us, Levi and I, and then we have had to bring in, the mashkiach. So there's another guy coming in, and he just said, I miss this. I realized how much I miss this, and you sometimes you're involved in another world, and all of a sudden this world is reopened for you, and you see it from a different vantage point. You're an adult now, and he told me straight up, like I felt he came to my son's bar mitzvah exactly a year ago, and he said, um, "Wow, like I wish I had more of this." And that's just one example of people, many people. I've had people walk into the winery while I'm there doing work, and we share space with the non kosher end of it. And this woman walked in, and I happened to know her. I'd met her, 2009, 2010. Not that involved with the Jewish community. She's been to Pesach, and then she saw me crushing the grapes, and she freaked out. She's like, "Wow, you're normal. You're like a normal." Whoa. And she took pictures and she posted it, and she's like an influencer. And for her, it was so eye-opening to see that you can put, religion and hobbies. And I mean, we were still in the early days. It was still not yet a business fully, but it was, and I have so many different stories of people who interacted only because they heard that there's wine. So, you know, one guy pulled out a pair of tefillin and said, "I got these tefillin in Kfar Chabad years ago. I make barrels now." It was just so interesting how many people you just, because it's a little different. It's something different, something unique, and also something that shows them that I'm local. I'm part of the local culture.
Chabad, where you are, it's a lot of college.
It's primarily college focused. I mean, it's a huge county it's very, very spread out. So when we moved, my wife and I, we said, let's see how this plays out. And over the years, the college community just got bigger and bigger and bigger. We're hosting about 150 students on a Friday night these days.
Oh,
So 2 years ago, we brought down another Chabad rabbi to be focused on the northern end of the county. We're looking to hire a couple now to help us on campus. So it's definitely grown, but we're primarily 90% of our work is with college kids.
I figured maybe you hired someone else because you need another hand in the winery too.
Also, we're getting there. We're getting there.
So, how involved are you, like both of you, in the actual making of the wine? I'm fascinated by this. Are you crushing the grapes yourself?
So kosher wise, right? Because wine is such strict laws. If you're doing daf yomi, this is the daf yomi these days, this
Yeah.
past week or so. Um, they're so complicated and not complicated, but like everything pretty much needs to be done by someone that's kosher and Shomer Shabbos. And in San Luis Obispo, up until recently, with students that became a little bit more observant, that was me and my wife. There was no one else that could even function as a winemaker or doing the labor. So from the moment the grapes show up until the moment the grape is in the bottle, the wine is in the bottle, everything is done by myself and Levi. Like sometimes there's a lot of work, like bottling. We'll need like two sets of hands. Levi will fly in. Um, you know, all the toppings, everything that's done throughout the process is done by myself. It's a hectic time usually. It's always Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. But that's the wine industry, and
You're
that's
going back and forth, sulfuring the barrels, topping off the barrels.
everything, everything, everything.
How often are you
Um,
there?
so now, like starting in next month, I'll be there daily for about a month and a half to 2 months, basically, until from when the wine is crushed until it's in barrel. So fermentation and then pressing the wine. So it's about a 2 month process between, different grapes come in at different times. And each grape usually spends about 2.5 to 3 weeks fermenting. So between the season opening and season closing is usually mid-September all the way to November, give or take. And then at least once a month, many times more, but at least once a month we're there to top the barrels, to make sure, taste it, to make sure things are still running smooth, measuring the acidity and all that stuff. So once to twice a month, the wine is getting opened and touched
You,
and
you
making
don't
sure that
have
it's the
a
right,
you don't have a UC Davis trained winemaker. You're actually the winemaker.
actually the winemaker.
We're hands-on. I mean, we do consult with a lot of
Right,
real pros, but we're the hands on the line, and we're calling the shots.
I'm
right.
amazed with you, Rabbi Hillel. Like you're
Levi
hosting,
calls the shots. I defer to Levi. Levi calls the shots. I'm still learning about, but
but you're doing
the
a lot
late,
of the hands-on work. You're there on the
right.
ground. You're hosting
Yeah.
150 students for a Shabbat, and then you're going to be every day in the winery. How
Yeah.
do you balance that as a rabbi and having those responsibilities?
It's fun. You figure it out. I'm not, the beginning of the school year, it's a little bit harder, but then it peters out because it's once a month, twice a month that I'm on the winery. It's a couple of hours. It's not a full day.
But the
So
harvest is usually coincide with the beginning of the school year.
yeah, that's probably the hardest part
And
of
Yontif.
of the ordeal. And Yontif, we've learned a lot, and especially with our consulting winemaker, we've taught him that some things are out of your hands and it's in Hashem's hands. And he's learned that. He looks at the calendar and says, 3 days versus 3 days of Sukkot this year. Ay vey. But you
Yeah.
know what? Hashem will pull through. So you learn to let things happen.
Yeah, it does get tricky with the Yom Tovim, especially at the beginning of fermentation. You got to be there at least twice a day to turn the
Pump it
musts and
over.
things, but you know, you got to let some things ride it out.
Oh boy, well,
Yep,
it's real. You really have to leave things in Hashem's hands sometimes.
absolutely.
It takes a lot of amuna, I guess, to be able to do
Yeah,
that because it's like your whole year's thing and it's sitting there and yeah, I mean,
exactly.
well, it's see,
That's
but
what
that's
that's what was nice when we were next to the Weiss brothers. It was like they've been doing it a little bit longer,
right,
and like they did it, we can do it too.
all right,
So yeah.
right.
Do you remember, Chaim, when they would camp outside the winery?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
My very first event in San Luis Obispo, somebody called me up. I'm in town. I'm a speaker. You want me to come speak? I said, sure. And he showed up with these two guys. And I said, what are you guys doing here? They're like, oh, we camp out here. We make kosher wine and we camp out here. Little did I know that, we work side by side. It was pretty cool. It's
They're
2009.
amazing, Shimon and Gabe.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're
Yeah,
really
those were
good
fun
people.
years working with them. We would cover for them a lot, and they would cover for us, and we learned a tremendous amount from them. And they're very innovative and gutsy, and I think we took a good cue from them.
Right.
Wow.
When
Did,
is it? This is like around 2010. Is that what you're?
2009, 2010. Yeah.
Yeah. Was Chaim David still around then, or he was already in Israel? Do you know Chaim
No,
David's?
don't know him.
Maybe you don't know him. I thought he was
No,
part of that.
no.
That's
I do know that the guy that opened Crave is an alumni at Cal Poly, but that's a different story.
oh, right, right, right,
Todd
right.
Aaron.
Pat Aaron, right, right.
Yeah.
He's an alumni of where? Where'd you
Of
say?
our of the university that I'm at, Cal Poly.
Oh, really? Is that right?
Yeah.
oh, I love this Jewish geography.
Wait, by the way, it's what is the it's Cal Poly that's there?
Cal California Polytechnic University, but we're like San Luis Obispo, it's a mouthful. So San Luis Obispo became SLO.
Hmm,
California Polytechnic University became Cal Poly.
Cal Poly, right. I mean, I didn't, yeah, I wouldn't, it's a good thing you didn't ask me what it stood for. I
Right.
knew Cal Poly.
I live in Atlanta, and here we have an individual here who's an alumni of Cal Poly. He graduated right before you got there, Chaim. And when he met me, he couldn't believe that there was kosher wine from SLO, and he became a big customer. He enjoys our wine, and he's really connected to it because he feels he has some, you know, vested interest there.
Wow.
That's right, you're in Atlanta right now.
Yep.
And Chaim, you're where right now?
I'm in the Catskills.
You're
Last
in the-
Shabbos before I fly home.
Right, because that's right. When I first reached out, and you were like, yeah, and you said it's actually 7 o'clock for us too, because you both be on the East Coast.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the Atlanta connection again?
I randomly live in Atlanta. I'm from New York, and I randomly moved to Atlanta with my family.
I know a lot of people down there, but again, I'm not going to bore people with our Jewish geography.
My wife's
Um,
gonna be there next week. She's taking my daughter she's going to the high school. There's a new high school opening, and she's gonna
Oh,
be
yes, we do have
Oh,
a new high
nice.
proud of
school.
my
Yeah.
daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, she's always welcome here.
Thank you.
do you have any kind of events in Atlanta? Like, do you try to do any of that? Like, do you do any tastings there, or you just lay
We
low?
do. We have a small wine crew, and we always get together and drink. We call a theme, like either Syrah or Israel or Pinot,
Uh,
and we all get together. Everyone tries to bring a unique bottle, like an RCC,
right.
RCC or
Yeah.
Rosh Chodesh, just
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
Rosh
right.
Chodesh
yeah,
Club.
yeah, Rosh Chodesh Club.
That's the right thing. We give Yossi Horowitz lots of shout outs.
He's great. Yes,
Lots
he's
of
great.
unpaid shout outs. I'm still trying to, I'm sending him an invoice. It happens to be. It's really, it was a brilliant idea. He used to give me a hard time about not starting one in Baltimore. And another friend of mine and I briefly did something of the like, it was years ago. And then I realized it was a job for me, like because most of my friends don't have the kind of bottles that are worthy of these kind of things. So I was like, I had to bring all the bottles. So then I'm pulling instead of one amazing bottle for myself, I'm pulling like eight amazing bottles for myself. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore, and running around collecting money from people and things like that. What do I need headaches for? But it's a great idea, and it's a fantastic thing for especially like small communities where like wines are hard to get and whatever. And your wine would be it's a perfect wine because it's reintroduced people to these kind of wines from SLO. I mean, because people are not. There are some obvious kosher examples like Edna Valley. There's the Herzog, and there's other Santorini Valley wines, and there's there's regional wines, but these are unique wines. And by the way, I wanted to mention the whole time I'm getting a lot of minerality here too, which I did not expect because that's more like cool climate stuff. So it's not all warm, not
We
all
are
warm.
cool nights.
Yeah, really, real like a beautiful wine. It's actually now that it's really opened up,
What's the
really,
what's the alcohol content on that?
well, I can
13 and a
answer.
half.
Are you testing him? I looked at it. I'm 13.6,
Oh,
13.5 or 6.
six. No, actually, yeah, this year, 2024 was 13.6. Last year was 13.5.
13.5.
Wow,
So yeah, I mean, I guess it was a little warmer the
I
year.
think that's pretty high for a Sauvignon.
Yeah, it is. It is. But again, we pick it ripe.
Yeah,
We're very new world.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't even
great.
we don't even attempt. We don't
but
even attempt to be
yeah, well, be what it is. I mean, you want to make the wine that these grapes are supposed to turn into, but like I'm saying though, I'm actually really surprised how nuanced it is, and it's not just like a real warm and like just all fruit. Not there's a ton of acid there, and there is even that minerality that you find in a cooler climate. So, I mean.
Yeah, what we find tricky is to have a fruit forward wine yet with restraint,
That's what you
which is
got.
yeah, which is a it's kind of an oxymoron, but
Yeah, I
that's
would say that it really has a beautiful balance to it, and there's elegance to it, even though that it's very, very fruity, but it's elegant still. So, I
yeah.
mean, you're doing something right.
Thank you. Yeah, we hope to make it mavushal by next year.
Well, I
When
don't
will
want to
you
hear
have
that.
that then? Bushel.
I don't want to hear that
We'll
stuff.
have to siphon
We
off a couple of
wanna
bottles for you beforehand.
we want to change that. We're looking
I
to change
yeah,
the
I get
industry.
I get it because of course then you could use it at everything, but like for me, I'm like you're just risking this gorgeous wine by. Haydu has some new, as he calls it, his mavushalizer machine thing, but he just put out a mavushal. I just wrote it up of or not the it,
Heirloom.
it was the heirloom red, right?
How is that?
It's great. It's really great.
Good
I
on
mean,
him. That's good.
his machine works. He's like Willy Wonka, I think, or something, and
Yeah.
it's great. So yeah, no, I get it, and especially probably very much in your world, you really need official wines. I mean, you're running a Kirov organization and whatever, but I don't know. I always get afraid when things get under the cook a little.
Yeah, it's definitely risky, and we hired a French consultant from Saint-Emilion who's an expert at Mavushal.
Really?
Yeah. So we're working on it, and we hope to have it ready. We hope to get some of our 24s before bottling through that machine.
Wow.
Is your plan to do dual run or all Mavushal?
No, we're going to start slow.
So dual, both. You'll make some of one, some
Some,
of the
meaning certain varietals or certain
other. Oh,
batches will make
gotcha.
Mavushal. We're not going to do half and half like Capsanis has a Mavushal and a
Yeah.
non-Mavushal.
Well, I know most of those machines you can't put in three bottles of wine worth. You need a certain amount, right?
Volume.
Isn't that right? Of volume to even do it.
That's correct. They're large machine. Yeah, they're large machines. The small machines aren't as efficient.
And how long is it boiled for in those machines? Do you know?
A couple of seconds.
Right. So it's not doing much to the wine, Kenny.
You can ask me my shita on it. How about that?
Cheat
It
on.
definitely, I mean, I
Rabbi
believe it
Kenny.
definitely
You
does.
can put my picture on the back of the label, and right. Yeah, I know. It's certainly a far cry from how it started. I mean, and it's so interesting, and I'd love to hear your thought on it because you mentioned you brought. First of all, is this French Saint Emilion? expert. Is he Jewish or not Jewish?
No, no, not at all.
Right. But and yet he's an expert probably on flash
On
pasteurization.
flash pasteurization, and
Um,
he has he again, it's not a process I fully understand at this point. But he claims, and he's been telling us that it's not just about the process of pasteurization. You have to actually prepare the wine.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
molecular process
huh.
before you put it through the flash pasteurization.
Without ruining your secrets, I mean, what does that mean? Like what type of prepare them how?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's something, again, it's something we're learning and
Right.
we're investing in.
Um, but it's interesting because, I've been reading in recent years about how a lot of French wineries are starting to do nothing to do with kosher, of course. They're starting to flash pasteurize for a variety of reasons. But it's an interesting thing to hear that this guy is, your consultant. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I have a theory on it. Saint-Emilions, as we know, has a lot of VA, the volatile acidity. That right, you get a lot of the Brett and Saint-Emilion, and they're wilder wines. And I believe that they use flash pasteurization to stabilize it there.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Right.
so he's an expert on that, and he's out in California currently. So we're working with him, and we're trying to secure a machine and all the other
I've been
details.
actually noticing a lot more of a Saint Emilions being mavushal lately.
Yeah,
It's also Royals influence. They want
Right.
to they want to cook everything.
I think some of the French Mevusel wines are fantastic.
Sure. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking off the top of my head, the Gray Sack always good, and also affordable
Beyond,
ones too.
yeah.
yep.
Yeah, there are definitely some great ones. And the interesting thing, and we've discussed this with other winemakers, is the aging process because it's kind of like the thought always is that you're going to just speed up that aging process, that you're making it more approachable right out of the gate, but it's not going to age as long. But some of the older Mevushal wines, let's say Hagafen is maybe not a perfect example because they're all Mevushal for a long, long time. And by the way, I've asked Ernie about that, and he said it's proprietary information. He won't tell me
Ernie
anything.
doesn't share. Ernie doesn't share.
Anything. But old Herzogs, where there were maybe one Mavushal and one not Mavushal, and you compare them, and the Mavushal ones are the ones that aged better, which is very interesting.
Right. We just did that here,
Yeah.
and I couldn't believe that all the mavushals were definitely better than the non-mavushals, which
They
Well,
is
again,
contrary to popular belief.
right. Yeah, but if you're killing all that volatile,
mm,
bacteria and things, and then I guess it gives it longevity.
stabilizing it more for that type of. It's
Yeah, but ultimately the longevity, is a factor of the acidity and other the tannins and how it encapsulates the wine.
Where do you think your wines, do you put those kind of windows on them? Let's say the double cab. I'm sure people ask you, should I drink it now? Should I cellar it? Would you put windows on those
It's hard.
yourselves?
It's hard to
We're
tell.
not good examples for this because I think for our original wines, I don't think we have anything left. We didn't think to put them away. So
Right, right. There's no relics of the early ones.
I have a couple here and there.
yeah, a
Yeah.
couple here and there.
Yeah, but it's always surprising. There's some years that I was certain that they would go the long run, and they didn't, and vice versa. There's some wines that I thought were not as structured for
Yeah,
longevity, and they've.
we just opened a har, right, Levi? You were there? We opened a har in the cellar. Was it was great when we made it. But it was 3 or 4 years later, 5 years later,
Hmm.
and it was a different wine. I'm not a big, expert, but even it was just a really, really good wine. And like I wish we would have known then how good it would be 5 years later, and we would have held on to more of it.
Oh, the
But
Heart 21.
fantastic. The Har 21, I think it was. Yeah,
Yeah, that's one of
fantastic.
our goodies. We sold out. That we the Har is a vineyard
Yeah.
up in
The
Paso.
the Weiss brothers make a har.
Yeah,
Well,
Stanley
and
Har is a good friend,
it's
and he has a
it's
great
actually a
vineyard.
nice, yeah. His son came to study at Cal Poly, and I met him before his son came, and he was just a really nice man, really nice guy. And he's like, I want to retire back to Northern California. I said, why don't you come to Paso? So he bought a place in Paso and moved there. So he's there, been there. He's a really good friend, and he has a vineyard. So we source some of our grapes
Interesting.
from him.
I didn't know that that's an
Yeah,
interesting origin story itself.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
funny how he
looking.
comes by and looks at his barrels, and
He does.
he's
He
The
very
loves it.
proud of it.
He's proud of it. His family, his friends. He promotes it. He loves it. Not to brag, he said he likes the narrow bridge version of Har more than all the other ones that use Har.
is that going to be a standing wine, like
We
a
hope so.
annual vintage wine? Yeah.
We
We
hope
hope
so.
so. It's a great vineyard, and it's funny. Our vineyard consultant wasn't too certain about it. He was concerned, you know, but they're great.
Results are results. Um, I'm looking at your website right now. The only white I'm seeing is the one I'm drinking, the Blanc. Are there other whites coming out in the near future?
Not that we foresee. We did dabble with Chardonnay, and it was quite good, but it wasn't
Right.
What about a
we
bubbly?
weren't
Asking for a
confident.
friend.
Well, I was gonna, I always ask because that's I would only drink bubbly if it were up to me, but I
I
don't imagine you
wish
have that in the immediate plans.
one day I would love to
Yeah,
make method blanks de blank, but
right,
it's tough. It's
right,
we
right.
have a lot to learn.
You guys you work your way up. I'm still happy with what you're doing. So tell me about the Cab Franc, which by the way, I saw that I haven't tasted that yet either. I have that down in my cellar. That's the 22. By the way, I have this thing in my head every time I see 22. I'm like thinking Shemitah. I'm like, oh wait, that doesn't actually apply California. Um, what is Cab Franc something you see doing more of, and why or why not?
I love Cab Franc. That's the first wine I ever produced professionally in 2010. I just love the grape. And a real true Cab Franc is unique. But I don't see ourselves producing more of it because it doesn't sell as well.
How do
People
we
are
get
And
out
scared.
of how
People
do
are
we get
scared of
out of
it.
yeah, but how do we get the our world out of just thinking cab all the time? And like I understand, like I tell people that all the time, like, oh, you don't want that, but like these guys are selling wine. They're a business. You run a business, you want to make money, so do they. Why should they make something? Oh, because that's your fancy that you want this specific thing. They have to sell wine at the end of the day. But how do we move from from here to there where you can make those great Pinots or you can make Cab Franc and not worry so much that it's going to sell. It's because I get it. You have to sell your wines.
Yeah.
I think the
Question.
kosher market has to be more exploratory. People like to walk into the shops and they buy what they know. I like to walk into the shop and buy what I don't know.
Right. But we're a small percentage, the four of us. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a small percent. Most people, like you said, it's the biggest reason I think is because no one wants to look stupid when they walk into a wine store. And they sort of like, I like cab, I like a nice cab because they know it.
I
So
think more tasting events. The more tasting events, the more we're out there, people explore it
right.
and taste it. And
I I was in New York and I saw your TSM and I was surprised that you did a Tanat. So if the Tanat, which a lot of people don't know, you said it sold well, and I tasted it there and I thought it was fantastic. I'm curious why the Cab Franc wasn't doing as well.
also
Hmm.
price point. Price point. The
Yeah.
Cab Franc is a much the retail is higher. So if I'm going to experiment with a wine, I'm going to go with the least less expensive one versus the more expensive one.
Okay.
And the TSM was also very approachable and very relatable.
Yeah. I like a Tanat. I never had I don't remember having a Tanat with a Syrah, and that was really interesting to me. To like that fruit forward Tanat where you had like that earth and then the like which is really what a lot of uh kosher consumers do like that. The fruit forward with the earth.
Yeah, it's like a Rhone with some thick structure to it.
Yeah.
And
Shiraz,
The Cab
Shiraz
Franc
tonight.
is also that, but you said maybe the price point is
yeah.
Um, yeah, tonight is it's a great varietal.
Yeah,
And
years ago, when I first got into the wine business, I went down to South America and I produced a kosher Tanat.
Wow.
Yeah, it did not sell. I produced a container worth.
In South
Wow.
America, you said?
Yeah, in Uruguay. Tanat
Wow.
grows in Uruguay. And I went down there and made him a bushel. We did a heat press,
Wow.
and I had it shipped up to New York, and it really did not sell. It was a learning experience, I should say, but it was Tanat.
See, those are the kind of bottles I want to get my hands on. That's
Too
very
late.
interesting.
There's so, I mean, the non-kosher world has so many good wines coming out of South America, and the kosher world, not as much.
True, true. I know there's only a handful of great kosher Malbecs, and I think Argentina has so much to offer.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, you need the people there too to do it. I mean, that's right. I mean,
Yeah.
You need the people being willing to invest the time and the money.
you got to start a Chabad down there. I know there is one. I'm kidding, but it's all Chabad. We now that we know that great wine is produced out of Chabad energy. That's all. That's the answer. It's we
Here's the
just
answer.
yeah. We gave the secret away.
Has it changed your Chaim, your shlichut? Has it changed your story, like financially or in your ability to think or think big and vision?
Financially, for sure. Meaning it costs me more money now to buy wine because I can't drink the wine that I started with now. I've been introduced to
The
better wine.
worst.
You
The
So,
can't
worst
go
hobby.
backwards. You can't go
The worst hobby.
backwards.
but outside of that, I think first of all, like one of the things that like we do as Chabad is like, they say the famous thing when a Chabad rabbi moves to town, they buy a grave because they're going to be buried here. I don't know if that's literal. I don't plan on being buried there, but I think the idea is that you're a local. You're not someone that's here and that's leaving in 3 years when you get a promotion. So being part of this is the local culture. This really is the local, there's wineries everywhere. So first of all, I feel like I'm actually a native now. Like there's a part of me that's native to this land. Like
Wow.
and then on a personal level, like when I do sukkahs, I tell it to my kids and I tell it to people like sukkahs is real. It's Chag HaAsif. Like in my world, you're actually pressing grapes. My hands are purple when I come home. And this is what they did once upon a time in Eretz Yisrael. Like, I mean, even today, but like you're actually celebrating the season, which is very interesting, which I never thought, like especially growing up in
Wow.
Montreal, where it's winter all year round. So there's no season, right? So this is like, I don't know, just from a personal level, definitely changed my perspective a little bit. And I've met people that I would not have met otherwise. Yeah, just fascinating. Yeah.
Can people visit the winery? Is it possible?
If people can visit, we're open to visitors. I mean, usually tourist season is when I'm not that really there. Like in the summer, I leave,
Right.
so it's hard to. But we'd love to do something. I think Yisrael, we spoke about maybe doing something,
Sure.
Sukkot or something, or we'd love to have people come by and taste and just be
So
exposed to
what does
it.
it look like now, the winery? You have your own setup now, completely? No custom crush?
the we're sharing space. So we share space with the non-kosher place. So those the kosher end of things where everything's sealed and double sealed, etc. And there's the non-kosher. So during harvest, it's very hard because it's busy in and out, and there's machines coming in and out and forklifts. But it's something we've had people come and we bottle. It's amazing. People love seeing, right? So a bunch of guys came up from LA once just to see bottling, and then they tasted from the bottle, tasted from the barrel, and it was just very exciting. I've had people come up, Chalamai trip. I want to do something different with my kids. It's 3 hours from LA. It's beautiful, so they'll come up, watch a crush, watch a press. It's different. They've never seen that before, so it could be fun and exciting.
I could see a
Yeah,
bunch of our listeners, their wheels are turning right now.
All right.
yeah.
I mean, my
Yeah.
wheels are turning right now. It's the one thing, like obviously living in Eretz Yisrael is amazing on every front, but like that ability to just drive 10 minutes and go to a winery and there's vineyards everywhere. It's so cool that you could live like the rest of the world in that way. Because in Maryland, there's plenty of wineries here, but there's nothing close by. I can't go to a winery and bring a picnic basket and have a glass of wine. That doesn't exist anywhere near here. So it's like that's awesome about California.
Yeah.
Um,
Lady and I have a dream of doing like a chef or a barbecue. I have a kosher food truck by me, like parking the food truck and then doing a day. That's one of our dreams. One of our Going to happen sometime in the near future.
Yeah, and I should say the food is great. The food truck. It's parked on campus, right?
Right.
What is it? What's it? What name is that? The food truck?
It's called
Uh,
What's Cooking Kosher.
what's
And what do
cooking?
you serve?
Shawarma, schnitzel, falafel, sausages, pastrami sandwiches. Yeah.
Who's the cook? Not you.
I have two boys that I hired, and
Ah,
we rotate. And shout out if anybody's looking for a job. I'm looking for one more guy next year.
there you go. We'll put out the
Yeah,
send in
Absolutely.
your CVs to Kosher Wine
exactly.
Podcast. I'll vet it for
Exactly.
you. Um, I would try to attend that kosher food truck and Narrow Bridge wine event. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Everything in California, it's so when I go out west, I'm always like, it just doesn't even look real to me. I mean, you guys are East Coast guys. It's like, but here it's like there's a strip mall, and then there's it's like I love listen, I love Baltimore, and there's a lot of real history here. I'm a history guy. California is beautiful. I
I was
mean,
actually going to ask you, is it industrial? Like, what does it look like around the winery?
Um, we're so the winery moved a couple of years ago from Santa Maria to San Luis Obispo proper. It's towards the end of the town, like
How
near
far
the
is that
airport.
from your home?
So 8 to 10 minute drive.
Wow.
I'm on the end of campus, which is one end of town. This is like the end of town, like the airport area. It's not industrial. There's not many industrial places in this small town. Like you walk out of the winery and you look up and you're surrounded by mountains. It's like San
Wow.
Luis Obispo is famous for it's called the Seven Sisters,
Yeah.
seven mountains that are sisters with each other, and they're like that's when you walk out of my house, you see one sister, and the winery you walk out, you see like another that's literally what you're looking at. You look at it's beautiful. It really is beautiful.
Our
We have a
closest
local
vineyard is
airport,
within a mile.
right? We have a local airport, so you can literally fly in, do some tasting for the day, and fly home.
the
Levy's done it.
closest vineyard is within a mile, you said though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we some of our Pinots come from really down the road.
All right, so not so urban over there.
And that's the
I'm
end of
gonna
town. It's the end of town. So you're
But
leaving
nothing's urban
town,
and
right?
and slow.
all right.
It's amazing.
Right.
All right, well, guys,
You have to visit Kenny.
yeah, I was literally just gonna say that I was gonna tell you to clear your calendars. I would love to come
I'm
visit.
out there for any excuse. If there's something, I'm on a plane there.
Um, it's that's a destination I've never been to, so I have every reason to come. And now that I know there's good food, good people, and good wine and great wine waiting for me,
I appreciate that.
I
so
loved your story. I love the origin story. I love both of your childhoods and like how you got into wine. And then Levi just kind of unpacking all the different wine things you've been involved with in your life and like how this process has been for you. And like, I mean, over the course of this conversation, we've really like we've heard so many different things you've done. The Argentina and New York, and then now here. I love this. I love the ingenuity. I love the entrepreneurship and I wish you both like a lot of success. And I think you're doing
Thank you.
something really special.
Thank
Amen.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having us here.
where can everyone find your wines? What's the website?
We're narrowbridgewinery.com and hopefully very soon on kosherwines.com for states we don't ship to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And any stores in the Tri-State area that they can find your wines?
Or you can find us all over in Crown Heights, in Muncie Wines on 59. I believe a couple of shops in North Jersey, Lakewood. We're in Florida, California. We're typically in the larger kosher wine shops.
And if you walk into a wine shop that doesn't carry us, ask them why not.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's great. And St. Louis Obispo SLO, do they have any wines in the shops there?
I've actually just spoke to a lady about this last week. We're going to start even locally, meaning as a kosher wine, it's a fantastic wine. It can sell as a local. Anybody can drink it. Like sometimes you get caught up. Only kosher people can drink kosher wine, and I have a close friend who serves it to all his non-Jewish friends, and they love it. So we're going to try to explore that a little bit as well.
It's amazing.
Well, I've learned that I need to get some of your other wines, and
Shoot us an email.
I will. I'm already doing it as we speak. If you,
Okay, I'm printing a label.
but But really, thanks guys for taking time out
Thank you.
and really wishing you continued growth, hatzlacha,
Thank you.
and more Chabad power.
Thank you.
Thank
Amen.
you. Thanks for having us.
A good
Appreciate it.
HDR.
You too. Wow, I didn't.
A good
That's the
year.
first one I've
It's
gotten.
almost Rosh Chodesh.
I'm not ready. All right, thanks
All right.
guys.
All right then.